Alright, we're gonna have analysis or breakdown of why the anti-magic devil is actually low ranking and high ranking simultaneously, right? So how we wanna address him as leibe, or even AMD or anti-magic devil. To me, I still prefer to call him anti-magic devil because that's the name we've been accustomed to. So I probably might prefer that name over his given name. Alright. So I actually had this theory like 7 months ago, and I now decided to do a video on it. And before I wasn't like, so much like to record it in this format. But I do got fact checks, I do got receipts. If you want proof of this theory being 7 months old that I had, I can actually send you a link. If you comment in the comment section, I can actually send you a link to show you that this theory is legit. Mine's from since 7 months ago. So there's no lies here, there's no clout chase, anything of the sort. So let's get into the video one time. Reason why he's actually low ranking is because it's extremely hard for him to obtain a vessel compared to the other devils like Zagred, Lucifero, Fanaka's devil, Magicula, even Xena's devil. It's really hard for him to get a host. It's like 1 in 1 billion, some crazy figures like that, because the odds are really low, right? So like 0.000 point, that those kind of figures is the chances he gonna have to obtain a vessel. But it was lucky that he found Asta. So Asta was so obscured in his existence. He was so weird. He was an anomaly that he had no magic, right? And it's it so happened that at that point in time he was getting his grimoire, and he didn't actually receive a grimoire, but a typical grimoire in the ceremony. So he ended up like found when he left. He actually like he was chosen. So the grimoire in a sense actually found him, right? So it actually chose him to be the wielder of the five leaf, which is only pure anti-magic. So no other human right existing right now that we know of can actually use this grimoire due to the complications of having magic, which is a regular thing. So it's an anomaly to have such a power existing in this world, right? Or even in the devil world. So he was chosen by those low odds of not having magic. So that's what make him actually low ranking amongst his race. So his power is actually viewed as being disgusting, or probably like a makeshift kind of power, you know what I'm saying? And if he was to use his power by itself, his power would be very clunky and hard to control. Right? So just picture him doing an anti-magic attack without any weapons, it would be very hard for him to use that power. The power would be just crazy all over the place, right? So his power by itself is actually weird and will be very hard to use. Even if the devil himself used this power, it will prove to be very obnoxious and of probably little to no use in a lot of his fights, right? So another reason I believe that his power is easily overpowered by physical objects, and which is not very hard to speculate that a lot of his devil raids can actually manifest physical objects, right? Or even actually use a lot of physical attacks in a sense, which will be his natural weakness due to the fact that he have no like durability feats, he got no speed feats, he got no enhancement feats, so it will be very hard for him to actually like to go in competition with someone on that level. So his power in that sense makes him low ranking, very low ranking. His power might even seems to be like disregarded in any instant, you know what I'm saying? And Right. So let's go to the part that you probably want to hear. The actually the crazy contradiction that you want to figure out why I'm saying this. Why will I say that? Well, it's actually simple. Some of you already figure it out. Some of you know what I'm gonna say. Is that the reason why his power now will seem to be very overpowered on other people? Like, damn, really? His power isn't that tough? Because that was claiming that his power is weak, right? His power got no use, so they're like, he's trash. But to make sense out of that, his power is actually high ranking due to the fact of leech swords, right? Swords as being able to help him harness his power to sharpen it, right? So it makes it more useful, right? And if you think about it, you never actually see Asta use the anti-magic power without any, right? Without using the swords, right? So all instances when he used the anti-magic is through the swords. He harnessed all the power through the swords. So just being used through the swords makes his power more sharpened. It become more precise, right? It's more controlled in a sense. And if you think about it, it's like him being Superman, right? With all the swords, he's just a regular Clark or regular he's just regular Superman. He would just be regular Superman on Krypton. He would just be your average everyday Kal-El, right? So, but him having the swords now, using those swords to harness his four-dimensional power, because devils are four-dimensional beings, so their power will automatically be adjusted as being four-dimensional. So, but as it is being presented to us and harnessed through the weapons, one can easily rule out the devil to be indeed high ranking, since it complements his power so well. So the swords indefinitely, there's no doubt about it, makes him high ranking. He can probably be like top 5 devils with his power, because his power cancels everything out. Come on, it's like the biggest hacks in the game we got, right? It's the biggest hacks on the field when you're playing against Asta, right? Asta's got more. He got more tricks than you. He's gonna have more outs than you. You know what I'm saying? Because his power is being more developed, and he's finding new ways to manage to use the power. So I don't think there's much people right now. Probably there's only a few, which is very low in numbers, that can actually defeat Asta. So if Asta becomes more developed by using his anti-magic power, or being in union as they are now presented to be working in unison, his power will become very obnoxious to any opponent. Even the top devil, Lucifer, with his gravities, wouldn't even stand a chance against this man. But but he's indeed high ranking, while he's manifested into the physical world using leech swords. So in that scenario, indeed his power is top tier. So that's why a lot of people are like, damn, why isn't this power deemed or being viewed as high ranking amongst his race? Is because amongst his race he isn't much. He's just a regular guy, because there's a lot of people that could actually could KO him, but or little to use up their own power. But since he's in the real world and he's manifested, or he's just actually there as his being, his power will indeed be like a some kind of grand, or some kind of like, probably like I would say right now he's like similar to like what Gilgamesh is from Fate series. He got a similar like a calling of the swords, that you know what I'm saying, that having the swords in a different dimension kind of beat, you can actually call it the swords. I saw him actually in the chapter 2, let's see, 229, no 269, sorry, I believe, if I'm wrong, where he versus Asta. If I'm wrong, somebody come in and tell me the right chapter. When he versus Asta, you actually see him using the swords and levitating the swords. To me, he looks similar to what Gilgamesh does, right? And if he could actually master that even more, and actually make it into like a homing device. So he could home in on the target. That would make his power even more unreal, right? So you just need a bit more control, a bit more timing, a bit more practice to become one of the top ranking devils. But to me, he's up there, man, because a lot of people won't be able to stand a chance against Asta and leibe once they're totally combined and they actually harness and leibe actually discover his potential. Because to me, leibe, he knows shit about his own power. All you know his power is anti-magic and his power can't cells. Right? So if he could actually conjure up something similar to like uh a mana zone, but in his own version, probably something more refined and more polished and well done. His anti-magic zone, in a sense, would cancel out any magic that intrudes that area. That space will be his domain, and he will actually turn the fight into more of a physical brute fight. So the person who enters that zone will have to rely on just their own natural raw strength, which a lot of mages in Clover, right, or in any nation, a matter of fact, don't got much physical feats just by yourself. They don't got much natural, natural raw potential, but they got magic to enhance. But having entered that zone, the magic is cancelled. So anything to enhance using magic will be cancelled. So Asta's potential of having physical feats is probably top three, and he will actually beat them very easily because I saw the guy actually pulverize a rock using his forehead. Right, the amount of sheer force you need to actually pulverize a rock is tons, right? Sometimes even some people might say it's pounds of force, right? But the output that Asta did versus what a regular guy would do, it's not comparable. So indeed, we will see more being revealed, and in soon we'll tell that everyone will actually start to respect his level because they will realize how how disruptive his power can actually become. Because recently we just saw the animation that how Dante tried to use gravity magic against the anti-slash, and to his surprise he failed, and he couldn't believe that it actually negated an attack at the same time, right? So it's pretty tough to actually defeat on its own, but in a nutshell, basically his power is actually low ranking amongst his race, right? And about the inconsistencies to be like on top amongst his peers, and probably a lot of the natural laws don't apply to the devil's natural environment or his world. But in the real life, when he's combined with the swords of Leech and he used it in unison with his own power, his power becomes very, very top ranking, very hard to defeat. Which we can now draw a conclusion that his power is like useful, top ranking, high tier in combat, right? But like for instance, in certain scenarios, his power won't be seen as useful, like compared to the likes of like Chami, where her magic is actually more beneficial towards one or towards a group of persons, right? So she can actually help replenish one's mana. She can manifest helpers to assist with a lot of different things. So his magic by itself won't be that, in a scenario like that, it won't be much help or much use. But his power that he's been granted to cancel out any type of shit you do with magic. Come on, man, that's power. So in conclusion, that's what makes him actually a top ranking level. So he's both simultaneously a low ranking level, but using the swords, it actually increases power, and it actually takes him from being a 0 to probably, let me say, even 100. So for those of you been listening, I hope you actually grasp what I've been trying to insight in detail on trying to articulate. But if we don't, let's take this scenario for instance. Let's say we got a football player, but he plays football barefooted, right? he could pass. He's good at juggling the ball. He can shoot goals, but he's average. He's good. He can he can play on the field well. He got good footwork. He got good trickery. But let's take that same football player and put a pair of tugs on his foot. You're gonna drastically increase his game by probably 80%. His level of skill is gonna increase just by wearing those tugs. So think of the AMD and Astas being compared to that, but with the swords instead of the tugs. So yeah, that's it. Without excellent